Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. It's your host here, Cameron Lindsay, back with another episode. First off, I want to apologize for not posting last week. I had some difficulties with my camera. It's hard to explain, but I'm here now. And before I get into today's topics for today's episode, I want to say, please click that subscribe button. If you know anybody, a friend, a coworker that loves sports, love to talk about sports, refer them to my podcast. My goal is to get to 500 subscribers. I know we can do it, but yeah, I would definitely appreciate it. Share a video, any video, to get them to subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. But today's episode is I'm going to be talking about the upsets from last week, college football, week 6. I'm going to make my week 7 college football predictions, and I'm giving my NFL week 6 predictions in today's episode. So let's get right into it. Yes, there was a lot of upsets last week in college football. That's one thing about college football that we definitely love is upsets. It was a crazy week, but 3 main upsets stood out to me the most. Starting with number 25, Texas A&M, Millie rocking number 9 Missouri, 41-10. Now I picked Missouri to beat Texas A&M, even though, like I said, I wasn't able to record last week. But in my notes, I have Missouri beating Texas A&M in a close game, but no blowout. Like I said, I like Ian Cook. Cook. I like Luther Burden III, who's arguably the best receiver in college football. Will be probably the first receiver taken in a 2025 NFL draft. And I like Missouri. They're one of my picks. They were one of my picks to make the college football playoff. I had Missouri at least going 10-2. But this was a lopsided game. It was, like I said, early. Texas A&M, like I said, up 20-something to nothing. 31-0, 31-7, something like that at halftime. Like I said, yeah, Missouri just never could get into the ball game. But yeah, this was a shocking upset to me. Like I said, especially a blowout. If it was a close game, I can understand because it's hard to play on the road at Texas A&M. Even Nick Saban said, especially at night. But this game was during the day. Like I said, I thought Missouri, Ian Cook, the quarterback, Luther Burden, I thought they would play better. I thought the defense would play better. But giving up 41 points to Texas A&M, but surprisingly, like I said, Texas A&M, they're undefeated in SEC play, so they might have a shot to make the college football playoff. You know, bouncing back from week 1 loss to Notre Dame, Texas A&M look like they're heading possibly into the right direction. But I hope Missouri able to bounce back. They did drop in the updated rankings all the way in the 20s. So we'll see how Missouri bounces back. The next upset I want to talk about is Arkansas beating number 4 Tennessee at home, 19-14. Like I said, I picked clearly Tennessee to win this game. Tennessee got more talent. I like their quarterback, Nico Eva. I can't say his last name, but Nico, redshirt freshman quarterback, 6'6", for Tennessee. He has a very good arm. I think he has a bright future at Tennessee. Arguably, probably going to be maybe a Heisman Trophy candidate in next season going forward. But I like Tennessee's chances to also possibly make the college football playoff. I didn't have them quite making it, but I had them as a dark horse. Like, I think they could potentially get in. But now I think losing to Arkansas, they most likely going to have to beat, because I think they still play Alabama and they play Georgia, so they gonna have to beat one of them too. It's gonna be possible though. I think Tennessee plays Alabama at home, or Georgia, one of them two at home. So, and the way Georgia and Alabama looked last week, the last 2 weeks, it's possible, but it's gonna be hard. Arkansas, kudos to them. Still beat Tennessee after losing their starting quarterback due to injury. He got hurt. I don't know. I didn't watch the rest of the game because I was watching another game, but they still beat Tennessee, held Tennessee to 14 points. But yeah, this is a real shocking upset. Hate to see it for Tennessee, but love to see it for college football overall. But this next one is my favorite. And no, I'm not a hater. Vanderbilt upsetting number 1 Alabama 40-35. I never thought I would see the day. Like, I'm 28 years old. I never thought in all my years of life I would see Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Because I'm used to Alabama mollywhopping Vanderbilt. It's gotten to the point where I always said I think Vanderbilt should change conferences, because they're not an SEC team. They don't play even when they play non-SEC teams, they barely beat them most of the time. The matter of fact, Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State this season. Now, don't get me wrong, Vanderbilt has been playing pretty good this season. They're 3-2, I think. Yeah, 3-2 after beating Alabama. But in the past, Vanderbilt has not been a football school at all. They're more, I could say, baseball, because they're pretty good at baseball. And I'm thinking, if I was Vanderbilt, I'm thinking about moving to a group of 5 school, move to the American or something where you can compete, because even though you're SEC school, you're not getting the 4-star, 5-star recruits. So, yeah, but this is a shocking upset. Vanderbilt was able to run the ball on that Alabama defense. Like I said, one thing known for Alabama, they always be good against the run. Look what they did against Georgia. Georgia didn't run the ball all that well the week prior to last week. But again, one huge factor, Nick Saban was the head coach of Alabama. Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach. At practice, he'll work with the defensive backs, corners, and safeties. Kalen DeBoer, he's a phenomenal coach, but he's an offensive-minded coach. They're gonna score points. Jalen Milroe, he's most likely gonna be a Heisman finalist. Ryan Williams probably gonna be up for the Biletnikoff Award. He may be a future Heisman candidate. The 5-star freshman receiver, Ryan Williams. So they're gonna score points. It's just their defense. That's one thing I was worried about Nick Saban retiring. I don't think people fear Alabama's defense as they used to, especially after you lost Caleb Downs. He transferred to Ohio State. You do got some good players in transfer from USC. You got Jalen McBakwe. You got some good players, but their defense is not as elite as it once was. They're probably still gonna be good, but it's not elite. And I don't think people fear Alabama's defense. They for sure it's not gonna fear them after this. After Vanderbilt just put 40 points on them. And yeah, this is a bad loss for Alabama. I had them losing 2 games, but not to Vanderbilt. The only 2 teams I had Alabama losing to were Missouri and Georgia. They beat Georgia. So it's okay, I think Alabama most likely could run the table, go 11-1 in the regular season. But they still got to play Missouri and Tennessee. Now, granted, they get Missouri at home. Even though Missouri did get blown out on the road at Texas A&M, Missouri's still a good team. But kudos to Vanderbilt getting this win. I wouldn't be mad at them if they put up a banner saying we beat number 1 Alabama 2024. I wouldn't be mad at them because nobody saw this coming. If I was a student at Alabama, I will remember this forever. They took the goalpost down and threw it in the river, the Chattanooga something river. If I was a student there, I'll remember that forever. If I'm a freshman at Vanderbilt, that's a moment you get to talk about forever. It don't matter if you lose to Alabama for the next 30 years after this year. You'll have this win. I think this is a very good win for Vanderbilt. I hope they can head into the right direction, make a bowl game, turn their program around, because I thought they should have been left the SEC or get kicked out of it. But this was the biggest upset in college football history. Not even close. I know it's been some upsets like Appalachian State beating Michigan on the road, but this is number 1 Alabama. I know Vanderbilt is an SEC team, but this is number 1 Alabama. They just beat Georgia last week, a powerhouse in Georgia, and lose to Vanderbilt the next week. But they play South Carolina this week. But speaking of that, let's get into my Week 7 predictions. Speaking of Alabama and South Carolina, the first game up, South Carolina 3-2 will be taking on number 7 Alabama 4-1. Alabama dropped to number 7 in the AP poll rankings after losing to Vanderbilt. I'm going Alabama. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Jalen Milroe is going to have a phenomenal game. Ryan Williams, he's going to have a huge game. Like I said, I think at this point, I think he solidified himself as their number 1 receiver. I think he's going to have a huge game. I think the Alabama defense should be able to bounce back. Now, South Carolina has had a decent year so far, but I think after losing to Vanderbilt, you got to make a statement. Jalen Milroe, you have to bounce back. This should be a game that gets you right back into the I think he's still in the Heisman, but get back on track on your Heisman campaign, potential Heisman campaign. So I'm going to Alabama over South Carolina. Big. I think they bounce back and get the win over South Carolina at home. Next up, we got number 10 Clemson 4-1 taking on Wake Forest 2-3. Now I'm going Clemson straight up. Now Clemson has been pretty good quietly, surprisingly quietly. They bounced back after that humiliating loss to Georgia week 1 in Atlanta. They're 4-1. They're ranked number 10. I think they potentially might make the ACC championship game. I did actually predict Clemson making it, but losing to Florida State. Boy, was I wrong. So I'm not gonna get into Florida State. Yeah, they done. But I'm going Clemson big. I think Dabo has Clemson playing good football right now. K. Klubnik playing decent football. That Clemson defense is playing good football. So I'm going Clemson clearly in a big win over Wake Forest on the road. Next up, we got the Red River rivalry, this time in the SEC because Oklahoma and Texas are both now members of the SEC, no longer in the Big 12. And Texas ranked number one again, 5-0, taking on number 18 Oklahoma 4-1. And breaking news, for those of you who may not know, Quinn Ewers will be playing in this game. He's been out the past couple of weeks, but he will be playing in this game. And with that, I decided to go Texas. Now, I don't know. I'm hoping Quinn Ewers comes back 100%, but I think even if he comes back 85, I think that's going to be good enough. Now, this is still the Red River rivalry. It's still a big game, two rivals. I think Oklahoma's going to be starting the true freshman quarterback again, like they did at Auburn last week. But I'm gonna go Texas. Maybe I say by at least 10, maybe close. But I'm going Texas. I think Texas wins this game. They're clearly right now the number 1 team in the country. Arch Manning did a phenomenal job stepping in for injured Quinn Ewers. That shows that if something happens to Quinn Ewers, Texas could potentially still compete for the SEC championship and a national championship because they got depth. Steve Sarkisian is a phenomenal coach. They got depth on the defensive line and the offensive line. So, and I like Texas skill players also, especially with the Alabama transfer Isaiah Bond. So I'm going Texas at least by 10 or more to get the win in the River rivalry over Oklahoma. Next, we got number 4 Penn State 5-0 taking on USC 3-2. Now, I would have thought after USC beat LSU week 1, I'm thinking, okay, USC is better than we thought. They got their defense fixed. But they got upset last week against Minnesota. Penn State, not been playing the best of football, but they're getting it done. I think I had Penn State making a cause for a playoff. I think they win this game. I just don't think USC has enough to keep up with Penn State, with Drew Aller and that running game with Penn State. They're 2 running backs. I'm going Penn State over USC. This will be Saturday, 3:30 p.m. And the Texas-Oklahoma game is 3:30. Clemson and Wake Forest 12 o'clock. South Carolina, Alabama 12 p.m. Next up, this is going to be my favorite game to watch. Number 2 Ohio State 5-0 taking on number 3 Oregon 5-0. These 2 teams I predicted when the season first started. I think Oregon and Ohio State played each other in the Big Ten championship game. And I had Ohio State winning. That's the Big Ten championship game. But I'm going to have Oregon winning. Oregon has the home field advantage. It's really hard to play in Austin Stadium. I think Dylan Gabriel has been playing pretty good the past few weeks. They got a really good running game. I like their receivers. Now they do struggle against the run a little bit. But like I said, for Ohio State to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball with their 2 outstanding running backs, Trey Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins. You have freshman sensation Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Ibuka, Cardell Tate, and you have a decent quarterback in Will Howard. So I think this should be a mid to high scoring game, right? Late 20s, 30s. But I'm gonna have Oregon slightly with the home field advantage, get the win over Ohio State. But I will have Ohio State winning the rematch in the Big Ten championship game. So remember that. If Oregon wins this game, I have Ohio State winning the rematch in the Big Ten championship game. Lastly, and that'll be a 7:30 p.m. game this Saturday. Number 2 Ohio State, number 3 Oregon. This will be my number 1 game to watch this week. But lastly, we got number 9 Ole Miss 5-1 taking on number 13 LSU 4-1. 7:30 p.m. late game. Now, this game, like I said, is tricky because LSU at night, Death Valley, that crowd is gonna be hard. But I'm a trust in Jackson Dart, Lane Kiffin, and that offense. I think Ole Miss has more talent on offense. I don't trust LSU's defense. They lost their best defensive player in Perkins out for the season. But I think it will be close. I'm still going Ole Miss to get the win. I think I trust Ole Miss with the better quarterback in Jackson Dart and the better coach in Lane Kiffin. Next up, we have number 11 Iowa State, 5-0, taking on my West Virginia Mountaineers, 3-2, 8 p.m. Now, this is the upset. This is my upset alert. West Virginia, we wearing our cold, dark uniforms, black. It's going to be at night. I'm pretty sure the crowd's going to be dressed in black. I think this would be a potential upset. I really feel like I know Iowa State has been playing really good football, but I think we can get Iowa State. If we beat Iowa State, I think we're going to be right back in the runnings to compete for the Big 12 championship. If we beat Iowa State at home, I'm going in a close win. West Virginia 20, Iowa State 17. I think my West Virginia Mountaineers will be able to pull it off. We get back. We had played amazing football last week at Oklahoma State. We ran the ball well with C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White. Even with our starting quarterback, not Nico Markey. Oh my goodness, forgot it. I don't remember his name. But Nico Markey, our backup quarterback, he stepped in. He played well when our starter got hurt. So I really like West Virginia at home to get the upset over number 11 Iowa State. Like I said, as long as we run the ball with Jaheim White, C.J. Donaldson, get our receivers involved. Our receivers played pretty well. Our defense played phenomenal. We shut down Ollie Gordon, the third, who's arguably one of the best running backs. I know he's not having the best year this year at Oklahoma State, but he's still a really good running back. But we shut him down. He didn't run the ball all that well. So I'm going West Virginia. And lastly, at 10 p.m., number 18 Kansas State 4-1 against Colorado 4-1. Like I said, now I haven't heard no Colorado slander in the past weeks. I know they didn't play last week, but I haven't heard none. And people saying, "Oh, Colorado's only gonna win one game, 2 games." They're 4-1. Now I'm not saying they're gonna make it to the Big 12 championship game. I think they will go to a bowl game, but it would not surprise me if they end up making it to the Big 12 championship game. I believe in Shedeur. I think Shedeur is the best quarterback in college football. Him and Cam Ward. I think Travis Hunter is the overall best player in the league. He has over 500 receiving yards. He has 2 interceptions. He does it on both sides of the ball. He's my number 1 Heisman Trophy candidate right now. It's not even close. Travis Hunter is clearly the best football player in the nation. And I think as long as Colorado and wins 6 games and go to a bowl game, and Travis stays healthy, there's no way he should not be a finalist. I don't care if they only go 6-6. He should be a finalist. If you don't agree, you don't know football. I'm sorry. I can't respect you. But I'm going Colorado in the upset over Kansas State at home. That crowd, late at night. It's going to be a close game. Like I said, I like Kansas State. I like that true sophomore quarterback. I like their running backs, especially Colorado transfer Dylan Edwards, who was at Colorado last year. Kansas State's a good team, so if Colorado beats Kansas State, they're legit. Or if they lose in a close game, they could be a legit Big 12 championship contender. But those are my picks for Week 7 of the college football 2024 season. Like I said, the number 1 game I'm gonna be looking at is number 2 Iowa State versus number 3 Oregon, and number 11 Iowa State 5-0 taking on my West Virginia Mountaineers 3-2. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments. What are your predictions of these games I just talked about? And what's your number 1 game that we should be looking out for this week? But lastly, let's get into my Week 6 NFL predictions. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, the 49ers 2-3 taking on the Seahawks 3-2. I'm going to 49ers. I don't know what's going on with them. I know Christian McCaffrey is hurt. They was looking good against the Cardinals at home, but they ended up losing the game. Cardinals came back. But in the Seahawks, losing to New York Giants at home. But I'm going with the 49ers. I trust Kyle Shanahan a little bit more, even though the way the 49ers have been playing, they've been struggling. But I trust him a little bit more than I do Geno Smith. So I'm going to 49ers in a close one. Next up, that'd be Thursday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. Next up, we got a overseas game in London. The Jaguars 1-4 taking on the Bears 3-2. The Jaguars got their first win last week against the Colts in a close one against Joe Flacco. The Bears coming off another win, 3-2. Caleb Williams had a phenomenal game last week. He's slowly coming along especially from week 1 when he only threw 90 passing yards total, but they still won the game. I'm going to Bears clearly. The Jaguars are not a good team at all. I would not be surprised if Doug Peterson gets fired after this game. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. And people are talking about he better than Justin Herbert, but I'm not going to get into that this episode. I'll say that for a different episode. But I'm going to Bears clearly, even though this is a neutral site game. I trust the Bears, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. That Bears defense has been playing phenomenal also. The special teams has been playing well. They've been running the ball pretty well. I'm going to Bears over the Jags. Big. I trust, at this point, Caleb Williams more than I do Trevor Lawrence. Next, we got the Texans 4-1 taking on the Patriots 1-4. I'm going Texans big. Even though Nico Collins is going on IR, they still got Stephon Diggs. You still got Tank Dell. I know Joe Mixon is still out, but I trust C.J. Stroud a whole lot more. I know rookie Drake May will be getting the start. Rookie out of North Carolina this week. He'll be starting this week, so that's another reason why I like Houston. The Patriots starting a rookie quarterback against the Texans, and that defense, Will Anderson, and that elite defense of the Houston. So I'm going Houston big. I think Drake May's going to struggle, but this will be a learning lesson for him. So I knew at some point he's going to start, and lo and behold, it's now. And that's a 1 p.m. game. Next up, we got the Commanders 4-1 taking on the Ravens 3-2. I thought about this game a little bit because Jaden Daniels has been playing phenomenal. He's the lead candidate for Rookie of the Year right now. The Ravens coming off a tough win on the road against a rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. Lamar played phenomenal. He threw over 300 yards, 5 touchdown passes. Now, that Ravens defense, it's a gave up 38 points, but hey, it is what it is. The only thing I worry about with the Ravens is they'll get off to a big lead or, a comfortable lead and then let a team end up coming back. Like they did against Dallas. They had a big lead over Dallas, let them come back, but they still got the win barely. But I'm going Ravens because this game's at home. The home field advantage. I think they're winning a close one. I think, they're going to bring the Commanders down a little bit, back down to earth just a little bit. But I think Jaden Daniels right now is the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. Let me know in the comments if you agree so or not. And that's a 1 p.m. game. Next up, we got the Browns 1-4 against the Eagles 2-2. The Eagles are on the bye week. The Browns coming off a blowout loss against the Commanders on the road. I'm going to Eagles. Even though the Eagles' defense has just been inconsistent this year, I don't know what to think of their defense, especially their secondary. It's like they'll play one week against the Saints and then struggle the next week against the Tampa Bay. But I'm going to Eagles, especially at home. I just don't trust Deshaun Watson. He's not the same anymore. He's not good. He's playing like a tomato can. I don't know. It's like that Deshaun in Houston just went away after that sexual allegations with the massage people and all of that. But I just don't trust Deshaun Watson. Cleveland, and plus Cleveland's defense is not as good as last year. It's not completely all their fault mainly because you got a quarterback that's playing like a tomato can and is the weakest link on your team. So I'm going to Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, and like I said, I don't think he'll get back to that Super Bowl MVP caliber year he had, the year they went to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. But he just got to be a decent quarterback. That defense got to get back right, and the Eagles will be fine. Saquon has been running the ball very well. Run the ball with Saquon. I don't know if A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith will be playing, but run the ball with Saquon. Get him involved early. Next up, we got the Cardinals 2-3 against the Packers 3-2. Cardinals coming off a comeback win over 49ers. Packers coming off a win against the Rams on the road. I went back and forth with this one, but I'm going to Packers. Now, if this game was at Arizona, I would go with Cardinals, but going Green Bay, I'm not confident in this win because Jordan Love ain't look all the best against the Rams last week, but they got the job done. I think as long as they run the ball with Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love gets back to that form he had last year, the Packers will be fine. I hope Jair Alexander will be back this Sunday. I'm not sure. I have to keep up and watch that. But we're going to Packers in a close one. Next up, we got the Buccaneers 3-2 taking on the Saints. Who's 2-3. Saints coming off a loss against Kansas City. Derek Carr got hurt. And just found out some breaking news today. Rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler out of South Carolina will get the start this Sunday. And with that being said, I'm going to Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield has been playing really good football lately. Like I said, Mike Evans looks in tip-top shape form. Chris Godwin looks in great form. They're running the ball well with rookie running back Bucky Irvin and the other running back. Their defense is playing pretty solid. So I'm going to Buccaneers, even though it's at New Orleans. But with a rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler, I don't know. Like it's gonna be pretty tough to go against a division rival, even at home. That's a lot to ask for out of him, unless you run the ball with Alvin Kamara, get Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed evolve early. But the Saints, I think with the Saints defense, they should be able to keep it close. Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan, I think they'll be able to keep it close. But I'm going Tampa Bay to get this win in New Orleans. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts 2-3 taking on the Titans 1-3. I'm not sure if Anthony Richardson will be able to play. I was watching and they did say he did return to practice from that injury. But even if he doesn't, I'm going to Colts because I trust Joe Flacco. He's been playing pretty well the past couple weeks. I trust him more than I do Will Levis, and I don't even think Will Levis is going to play because he did get hurt a couple weeks ago against Miami. Even if he does, I just trust the Colts more. They got more talent. Even though I just saw also recently Michael Pittman is going to IR. He's going to miss a couple weeks. So I think this will be a close game, but I'm going to Colts more. The Colts over the Titans. Next up, we got a 4:05 p.m. game. My Los Angeles, almost said San Diego Chargers. My Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos 3-2. That Denver defense has been playing phenomenal. Patrick Surtain played phenomenal. He had a 100-yard pick six last week against Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm a little nervous because this Denver defense has been playing well. And my Chargers, we don't got the best receivers. Even though our second-year receiver Quinshawn, but at TCU, Christian. He's been playing pretty solid. Has more touchdowns than he did last year, his rookie year. Ladd McConkey, I really like his game so far. Out of Georgia, rookie receiver out of Georgia, I think he potentially could be a pretty good receiver, maybe a star. But I'm not gonna get too caught up in that. But he right now, I trust him more, even more than Joshua Palmer, because Ladd he can get open and he's really good after the catch. But our main thing, what I'm also nervous about, is our offensive line. Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, our first-round pick in this year's draft, both hurt. They didn't play last week, so I'm really nervous. And plus, Justin Herbert, I don't know if he's 100% from that high ankle sprain. Like I said, I just don't think if he's not 100%, I wouldn't play him. It's not worth it to lose our superstar quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback when healthy. But I think we need to get back to running the ball with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Run the football. For us to win this game, we have to run the football. I don't think we should target Patrick Surtain that much because I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm going my Chargers. I'm trusting Jim Harbaugh. I think this is a much-needed bounce-back game we need after losing 2 straight to the Steelers and Kansas City. We really need this game, so I'm going my Chargers over to Denver in this game. Next up, we got the Steelers taking on the Raiders. Steelers coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Cowboys at home. Raiders coming off a loss on the road to Denver. I'm going Steelers. I expect Steelers to bounce back after losing 2 straight to Indy and Dallas. I think Justin Fields is going to bounce back. They're going to run the football. I think they should get oh my goodness, I know his name. Get their receivers involved. Their defense, I love their defense. T.J. Watt has over 100 sacks already in his career. Mika Fitzpatrick. So I expect the Steelers to start bounce back. The Raiders will be starting Aiden O'Connell this week. So I don't trust them at all. So I'm going Steelers big over the Raiders. I don't know if Devontae Adams or dang are going to play, but I'm going Steelers. Next up, we got the Lions 3-1 taking on the Cowboys 3-2. I think this possibly could be America's game of the week. I'm going Detroit. I trust Jared Goff more. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson. I'm going the Lions over the Cowboys. I just don't trust the Cowboys. I know they got a good win last week over the Steelers, but I don't trust the Cowboys at all to be consistent this year, especially in that division in the NFC East. I'm going Lions in a close one, but would not surprise me if they blow Dallas out. Next up, we got the Falcons 3-2 taking on the Panthers. I'm not going to waste no time on that. I'm going Falcons big. I think Kirk Cousins has a good game. This should be a blowout win, even though Andy Dalton has been playing well since they benched Bryce Young.